Welcome to the Introduction to Apprenticeships webinar. We will let everyone get in, give it a couple of seconds. Right, I think everyone should be in now. So welcome to this webinar. This is aiming to give you a brief introduction to apprenticeships, what they are, how they can be of service to you in all different situations. I will say we are all at home, just like you. So if you hear the odd dog barking or the odd child in the background, please do forgive us. I'd like to introduce you to the Solent Apprenticeship Hub team. You've got Sarah.
Hi, everyone.
Leon.
Hi, everyone.
And Jamie.
Morning.
And obviously myself. Just to let you know, there is the facility to ask questions throughout this webinar. Please do ask your questions. We'll deal with them all towards the end. But, you know, this is for you. So no question is a silly question. No question is beyond, if we can't answer it, basically, we'll find out the answer and we'll get back to you. The other thing to make you aware of is throughout this, there will be a link to Calendly. And if you wait to the end, we are offering one-to-one sessions over something like this or Zoom or via the phone, if that's best for you, and where we can provide some one-to-one advice for you and for your child if you're a parent, for your pupils if you are a careers teacher. Happily speak to you on a one-to-one basis and answer all the questions that you need us to answer. I'm now going to hand over to Jamie and Leon. They're going to take you through the presentation, and then you'll see me back for some Q&A towards the end. Over to you, Jamie and Leon.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much for the introduction, Jodie. Jamie, can you just acknowledge that you can hear me, just so I know that everyone else can?
Yeah, all fine.
Fantastic. So what I'm going to do is me and Jamie are going to talk you through a presentation. So hopefully you can see that and have access to that on your screen. If for any reason you're having difficulties actually seeing the presentation, we are going to make sure that you can download this after. So if there's any information that you think you might miss out on, then you'll be absolutely fine to download it after. If we work our way through the presentation, I'm going to give you an overview of what me and Jamie are going to discuss. So we turn over the slide. So I'm going to give you a basic introduction. We are the Solent Apprenticeship Hub. Some of you on this call might actually have worked with us maybe previously or seen us. Those of you that haven't, I'll give you an introduction as to what we do and what we're all about, what an apprenticeship is, what are the benefits, which Jamie's going to talk you through, what types of apprenticeships are out there. So there's a huge diversity of apprenticeships at the moment. So it might be you're very interested in apprenticeship, but you don't actually think there's a route for you. But we're here to talk about what the possibilities are, what the options are that you've got, how to apply, which is really important. So it might be that actually at the end of this presentation, you think, do you know what an apprenticeship is for me? And it might be that you can actually put an application in as early as today, which would be fantastic. Obviously, the COVID situation is challenging for all of us, and we are here to support you throughout that process. So there is some useful information out there already. Again, if there is something that you want to know specifically that isn't covered in the presentation, then as Jodie said, there is the option for a Q&A. And then Jodie and Sarah are going to finish that Q&A at the end. So if I give you a basic introduction, so we turn over the slide. So my name's Leon, I'm one of the apprenticeship advisors and I cover Eastleigh and New Forest. Everyone else has done their introduction. So one important thing I wanted to mention was that the Solent Apprenticeship Hub does fall within Southampton City Council. So if you've worked with us previously and you've seen that in the email, we're part of a wider team within the Southampton City Council. So that's where the name came from. We started in February last year, and ultimately what we're here to do is to support employers, training providers that we work with, and potential apprentices. The other thing we do as well is if you're perhaps someone that's in the call today that's a parent or a carer, maybe you're just looking for advice, but all of those people and all of those subject areas are people that we can help with, we can have one-to-one sessions with. So we've got the Calendly link. So if you fall into one of those categories, or even if you don't and you just like some more information, then please do so. What we do is we explore apprenticeship opportunities. So it might be you've been thinking about apprenticeships for the last couple of years, but you don't know where to start. You don't know what you want to do. What we can do is we can actually have a one-to-one session, find out what you're passionate about, where your skills lie. And it might be that you've got a really specific career that you want to get into, but you're not sure how the apprenticeship can match that career. So what we'll do is we'll go through all of that. We'll give you your options, and then we can actually then make the referral to the relevant training provider. And ultimately, we're here to help with any queries that you've got, whether that's during the presentation today, at the end on the Q&A, or afterwards. If you want to send us an email, pick up the phone, then we're always happy to help. What I'm now going to do is Jamie is going to cover the next slide, and he's going to talk about apprenticeships. Cool.
Thanks, Leon, and welcome to everybody that has joined us this morning. So as Leon said, my name is Jamie. I'm one of the Hub's advisors. So what we're going to cover in this slide is what is an apprenticeship. So as you can see, we've listed a few points on the screen there. So an apprenticeship is a real job with a training component. They are typically built up of elements, including creating a portfolio, completing an endpoint assessment, and achieving your maths and English if that's necessary. Earning a wage. So the current minimum wage for an apprenticeship is currently £4.15. This is only a minimum guide, meaning that you can earn more, obviously depending on your employer, the level of the course that you're completing, and your experience that you already have. You will earn nationally recognised qualifications, the same qualifications that you will earn if you attended college, completed college. However, you will receive work experience alongside that. Apprenticeships take between 1 to 5 years to complete. This can range, but you must achieve a minimum of 12 months in learning. And they can range anywhere from a level 2 qualification all the way up to a level 7. So that's a degree level apprenticeship. Apprenticeships no longer have a maximum age limit. So anyone who's 16 and older and not in full-time education can enroll into an apprenticeship. And apprenticeships are a great way to learn a new skill in a new role, as well as upskilling yourself if you're already working within a company. You will typically be contracted to a 30-hour-a-week contract to enroll. There can be some flexibility to this if you are working less. However, this will affect the completion date of the course. So moving on. So what are the benefits of an apprenticeship? So you, as I said before, you can earn while you learn. You can receive recognised qualifications, gain independent and transferable life skills, benefit from ongoing and personalised support, gain real work experience, improve your employability chances, develop your skills, discover your earning potential, and employment contract benefits. So, and it has been reported that 90% of apprentices that completed their course secured a job or progressed into further learning. So on to the next one. So what type of apprenticeships are out there for you? As you can see, we've listed some of the sectors that you can complete on the left. So I'm not going to bore you by listing them again. There are currently 538 courses being delivered across the UK, and more are being developed each day, allowing most sectors to have a relevant course. As part of our service, we can support you in finding the right course and also help to identify a suitable training provider to deliver that training. So we predominantly cover the Solent area, so anywhere from Leamington over to Havant, and obviously everywhere in between. So all of the providers in that area we do work with, so we look to send you to someone local. All right, so I'll now pass you back to Leon. Leon's actually going to go over the process of where and how to find apprenticeship opportunities. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jamie. So what we're now going to do, Jamie's obviously discussed the basics of an apprenticeship and a little bit more complex information as to what opportunities are out there for you. Some of you may know this link anyway. So this is the gov.uk website. That link is available on the presentation. So if you want to access that after, then that link will send you directly to the website. The gov.uk website is fantastic for seeing all the current apprenticeship vacancies. So any vacancy that's effectively available in the UK has to go through the gov.uk website. So as you can see on the next slide, there are some vacancies live at the moment. Now, considering we're in a situation where recruitment is hindered, I think it's fantastic that there are still businesses and employers that are very keen to try and still get apprenticeships in difficult times. So while there are challenging times for us ahead, there's also opportunities, which is fantastic for those of you that are looking for an apprenticeship. If there's a vacancy that you find and you think, do you know what, this seems fantastic, maybe you need a little bit of support with how to apply, what you need to include in that application. So again, if you need any assistance in regards to applications, then please let us know. And then the last point on this slide is very key. Employers are interested, but don't always advertise vacancies. So from experience, especially in things like construction, you find that a lot of people are looking for apprentices, but they don't necessarily have the time or the capacity to put vacancies available on the gov.uk website. So it might be you've got a company that you know of through friends and family. It might be that you offer work experience, but there are additional routes into an apprenticeship as opposed to just the application route. So again, if you've got any specific questions regarding that, then feel free to ask Sarah and Jodie at the end, or email us or contact us after. So the next slide will, what I've done is I've created a screenshot from the gov.uk website. So again, there's 223 apprenticeships based on my postcode within 20 miles. So that's a fantastic number, again, considering that recruitment is a little bit challenging at the moment. Those arrows on the left-hand side. So what you can do is you can receive alerts. So if you go onto the gov.uk website and you create an account, you can actually refine specific details like your location, the apprenticeship level you're interested in, or maybe even keywords if you know exactly what apprenticeship you want to do, i.e. childcare, as you can see in the photo. So what that alert will do is any vacancy that then becomes available, you will receive an automatic email. So it won't be that you have to keep going on the website every day just to see if there's any new ones or to refresh the page. It's a really easy website to use as well, and especially with the application, it's actually a pretty easy and straightforward process, which makes life a lot easier for you and for us as well. So any questions on that, again, feel free to put those questions in now, or ask at the end, or get in contact with us. What we're now going to do is we are going to cover some of the basics of the COVID situation and what impact that has on you, whether you're an apprentice, an employer, or even a training provider that's logged in today to this webinar. So one thing we wanted to do is we want to reassure you that while we are in challenging times, there are still a lot of opportunities, as we've just seen on the previous slide. There's also some great work that our training providers are doing. Employers are kind of planning and preempting ahead of this for the future. So there are a lot of positive things going on behind the scenes, which means that life is a lot easier, but also a little bit more exciting in regards to the apprenticeship world. And we're all in this together. So anything you need, please let us know. We are your support mechanism across the whole Solent area. So hopefully you fit into one of the 4 categories. So it might be you're currently on an apprenticeship at the moment. It might be that you're actually in the process of starting or completing your apprenticeship. Perhaps you're actually looking to apply for one, or maybe you're just here for a little bit of advice and guidance. Maybe you're aware of apprenticeships, but you don't necessarily know all the nitty-gritty details. So if you do fall into one of those categories, then fantastic. If you don't, it doesn't mean that you are in the wrong place, of course. It might just mean that you're looking for something a little bit more specific, of which the Q&A will be perfect for you. So what I'm now going to do is I'm now going to run through some key updates. I don't want to just read what's in front of you on the slide, because this information is going to be available to you on the gov.uk website. However, some of the key things are hopefully going to be relevant to you. So one thing I will say is you can still complete your apprenticeship, and you can also still actually actively progress on your apprenticeship. So maybe you were used to doing day release on your apprenticeship, which means you actually physically go into the training provider or the college. It might be you can now do visual learning, so you might have access to e-learning, whether that's videos online, things that you can listen to, YouTube links. There's all this great work that you can do on your apprenticeship that doesn't necessarily require the traditional face-to-face learning. So your apprenticeship can still progress. Training providers are still actively accepting referrals, which means if you are interested in apprenticeship and you book on the Calendly link and we say, do you know what, there's a fantastic opportunity, we'll send you over to our training providers, they will still be able to guide you through the process, even if there aren't any vacancies specifically available now. So we can still get the ball rolling. Endpoint assessments, I won't go into too much detail because some of you might be unfamiliar with that term. Effectively, if you're towards the end of your apprenticeship and you're worried that you're not going to complete it, there is now a extended agreed break in learning, which means you're not necessarily under pressure to do it by a certain time frame. Again, that will depend on what course you're doing, who the training provider is, but I just want to reassure you, actually, there are things that we can do, and don't panic and think that you're going to waste all your time and just suddenly lose all of the great work that you've done. So that's an overall summary. The good news is that this information is always updating. So if you are following us on social media, any changes or updates, then we will make sure that we keep you updated with those as well. So next steps and actions. So it would be great if you can follow us on social media. We've got a really good following where we try and upload new information, news articles, events. We're constantly trying to get involved in networking events so you can see where we've been and what we're up to. you can arrange a time slot to speak to one of our advisors. So you've got the Calendly link there on the screen, and also you'll be able to do that on the Q&A section as well. If maybe you haven't got the time today, or maybe you want to go away and think about things before you come back to us, then you can still book a slot with us. We're more than happy to do that. And we do have 3 fantastic advisors who will make that time to make sure that that can happen. Sign up for the alerts on the gov.uk website, as we've already discussed. If you are on apprenticeship already and your employer is a little bit maybe uncertain because of the current situation, then please feel free to say that actually the Solent Apprenticeship Hub will work with employers. So we're happily, again, have that half-an-hour chat with your employer just to talk them through the process, answer any questions that they have, and hopefully make things a little bit more positive, both for you as the apprentice and also for your employer. And again, I'll reinforce it because it's what we do. Anything and everything else, then please email us. There's no such thing as a stupid question. And if there is, it's going to come from me rather than one of you. So please ask us away. We've got the Q&A and we're not necessarily limited too much in time. So feel free to bombard Sarah and Jodie because they both like to talk, especially if you know them, you'll know that's accurate. Right. And again, thank you ever so much for your time. Really appreciate you listening. We are going to do a few additional ones in the future. So any feedback would be fantastic, or anything additionally that you'd like us to talk through or to offer, then please let us know. Again, questions, no questions too big or too small. If you want to email us, you've also got that link there available. So when you download the presentation, if you click that link, you'll be able to send us an email afterwards. So thank you ever so much for listening. What I'm now going to do is I'm now going to allow a minute or so for Sarah and Jodie to come back on. Jamie, is there anything else you want to add at the end of that?
No, just thank you for joining us. And again, we look forward to hearing all your questions.
Fantastic. So me and Jamie will leave you there. You're now in good hands with Jodie and Sarah, who will set up. If you've got any questions, you can actually submit them during the Q&A. So keep them coming, and hopefully you've taken something of value today. Thank you ever so much for listening.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. Ready for the Q&A session now. I have been told that the chat facility isn't working at the moment. If you click on the Q&A right next to it, that facility is working and the questions are coming through. So I'll take the first one from Paul. Can you do a self-funded apprenticeship if an employer is not available? The whole point of an apprenticeship is that you are employed, that you've got a contract of employment, that you get paid a fair wage for that work, and that you are proving competency in a workplace. So unfortunately, a self-funded apprenticeship is not actually an option. However, if you're struggling to find an employer, please do come book a session with one of us at the end of this. As I said, the Calendly link will come up if you wait right to the end of the webinar, and we can talk one-to-one about what area you're in. You've said mechanics is of interest. We can put you in touch with the relevant providers that have got links with those employers. Yeah, so although self-funded is not available, please do come and speak to us. We'll help you where we can.
Okay, next question. Katie Ridgely asks, can you access an apprenticeship if you want to be a paramedic? There is an apprenticeship standard. It's a degree standard. It's paramedic science. Usually what you will need to do is apply via the healthcare provider first. So if you go on the NHS website or your local hospital website, they'll tell you what apprenticeships are available and you apply via them. They're not usually on the government website because they are degree apprenticeships. So check your local healthcare. So if it's, anywhere in the Solent area, go on the, University Southampton website. The apprenticeships are on there. You'll see what they have available and you can go via that route. But yes, there is a degree, paramedic science.
So one of the next questions is, can I get a degree with an apprenticeship? Yes, absolutely. One of level 6, all level 6 and level 7 apprenticeships are related to a degree. So you can absolutely access the same qualification as some of your friends, colleagues are getting, but it will be absolutely no cost to you. There is some statistics out there that actually says if you're an apprentice, you earn over the course of your lifetime over 100k more, and of course you haven't got the debt that comes with getting a degree the traditional way. So yeah, absolutely possible. Please look at the level 6 and level 7 standards. If you want to speak more specifically to us around specific degrees, specific areas, give us a shout, book on Calendly, and we will answer the best we can.
Brilliant. Okay. Someone's asked, how much are apprentices paid? That's a very good question. We get asked this a lot. So if you are going into your first year of apprenticeship, so let's say you are going into digital marketing year 1, the minimum wage for that would be £4.15 an hour. That would go up in your second year, depending on, you know, what age you are. It will be the minimum wage for your age group. So the minimum wage for an apprenticeship at the moment is £4.15 an hour. Usually employers will pay more. It's really worth making sure you double check the vacancies, because a lot of people hear the minimum wage for an apprenticeship and think, oh, I can't, that's not going to support my life. But employers do pay more, so please do check. But at the moment, the minimum wage is £4.15 an hour.
Lovely, thank you, Sarah. I've got a question from Hannah. Sometimes students get demotivated when employers fail to respond to their applications, whereas colleges always get back to you really quickly. What's our advice? So I am a firm believer in a plan B. I think, as with always, with an apprenticeship, you are applying for a job. So, you know, as with some of these opportunities, we have opportunities certainly in the Solent area where employers can get hundreds and hundreds of applications, and unfortunately employers don't get back to everyone as much as we might like them to. So I would say, please don't lose hope. It is a competitive market. We will be doing some webinars. We've got this first 3, this one being number 1, which is all about an introduction to apprenticeships, but we will be doing a series around CV writing and interview skills, because sometimes your application needs to be the best it can be, because you are in a competitive market. I would say always have a plan B, and college, you know, is an excellent plan B, and keep going. You know, it is a competitive market. You need to make sure that your application is as slick as possible, and we are happy to help with that. So please do get in contact.
Okay. Matthew, you asked, do we cover Fording Bridge in the New Forest? Would love to come and have you at our careers fair. We absolutely do cover the New Forest. So I don't know if the boys mentioned it earlier, but basically Leon is our advisor for the New Forest. So he covers the New Forest, Romsey, Eastleigh, all of those areas, and happy to come and see anyone. He's really great at careers fairs. So Leon would be great for you. I cover Southampton, Fareham and Gosport. So again, happy to come and meet anyone, anywhere, whether that's a careers fair or individuals. And Jamie covers Portsmouth and the Isle of Wight and Havant. So any careers fairs, any meetings, send them through. We'd be more than happy to come and see
you. So we've also been asked a question about what's the most popular apprenticeships. This really does depend on when you're looking and what you're doing, but probably the top 5 in the local area, there is a lot of engineering, and that includes marine, mechanics, all different sorts of things. Business is another strong one, the level 3 in business, because every employer has an administration function. IT, hugely popular. The whole digital, anything from digital marketing to infrastructure and things like that, that's growing and predicted to grow much, much more in the future. We've also got a really strong care apprenticeship, both childcare and elderly care in the area. So I'd say there's not one particular one, but we've got a really good mix in the Solent area, and we're really lucky to have all those employers that are engaged and really wanting to offer people opportunities.
So someone has asked, are apprentices able to contact you if being furloughed? Yes, absolutely. Please do contact us, because even if you're being furloughed at the moment with everything that's going on, you can continue your apprenticeship. And we really want to make sure people know that. So please do contact us if you are concerned that you've been furloughed and you don't know what to do. Contact us or contact your training provider, because you can continue your studying. And it's a really good time for you to be able to do your 20% off the job training as well. So we can support you and give you some advice around that. So yes, please do contact us if you've been furloughed and you're worried.
Another question here about, oh, I've lost it. It's back. Is our help restricted to candidate geography or school location? What I would say is that we are happy to help anyone at all. We are thoroughly based, our whole project is based in the Solent area. However, if you've got any questions, regardless of where you're from, during this time, we're happy to support everyone that we can. The Calendly link is there again. Book your half an hour slot with us. And if it takes an hour, that's not a problem. We will help as many people as possible.
This is a really good question. I know a lot of people are going to be worried about this at the moment. So we've been asked, if I don't get my grades from GCSEs, can I still do an apprentice scheme? If so, how can I do this? So with an apprenticeship, you can apply and be enrolled on some apprenticeships without having your GCSEs A to C. What is it, Jodie? 4 to 9?
4 to 9.
I'm too old. So you don't necessarily have to have those to be eligible. There will be some apprenticeships, some specific qualifications that will require you to have a higher grade. But in some instances, you won't necessarily need to. What you will be required to do once you're on your apprenticeship scheme is to enroll on something called functional skills, which is maths and English, and it is equivalent to GCSE, slightly different in the way that it's taught. But as long as you, so for example, if you're doing a level 2 apprenticeship, then you would be enrolled. And by the end of that, hopefully have your functional skills in maths and English, functional skills level 1. Is that right, Judy? Yeah. For level
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And level 3, you would have to have your functional skills level 2 by the end of that. So if you don't have the maths and English now, don't panic, because by the end of your apprenticeship, you should hopefully have achieved that. But you don't let it put you off applying, because some apprenticeships will allow you to enroll. For example, if you're looking into, I can see the next question is about accounting. In all honesty, it might be more difficult for you to apply for an accounting role if, for example, you haven't achieved your C or above, 4 or above in maths. So just sort of think about it in those sorts of situations, but always apply or ask the training provider who is advertising the vacancy, or speak to us because we can help you.
Yeah, just moving on to Finley's question, can you access an apprenticeship for an accountant? Yes, absolutely. The finance apprenticeships are one of those that are really highly thought of, because you also get your AAT qualification alongside your apprenticeship. So you absolutely can, Finley. What I would say around the GCSEs thing is, do you know what? Everyone's in the same position, and employers are going to look at you guys that are leaving your year 11 at the moment or just left. They will look at that. You will get a grade, which is really positive, and most employers understand. And a lot of them, if you're just leaving school, motivation and attitude is a huge thing. And if you can demonstrate that through a really good application, a really good interview, that is going to take you a long way. So Finley, yes, you absolutely can access an apprenticeship for an accountant. And please don't let no GCSEs or GCSE grades perhaps that you were hoping for better to put you off. Please do apply. There's something for everyone out there.
Absolutely. Do they do apprenticeships in dance? Now, Jodie, do you know of a specific dance apprenticeship? I don't think there is there?
No, unfortunately, that's one of the things. As Jamie mentioned in the presentation, there is over 500 standards now. Unfortunately, dance isn't one of them. Dance is one of those ones that you probably need to go the more traditional route. So college, and then going on to sort of drama, dance, performing arts sort of school. So unfortunately, at the moment, there isn't any.
No. What I will say is, if you go to the Institute for Apprenticeships website, which is really good, you can scroll through, type in keywords, for example, dance or or creative or entertainment and things like that. If you are a creative person, there are creative apprenticeships, you know, there are theatre apprenticeships and things like that. So while there's not a specific dance one, if that might be the route, just have a look at the Institute for Apprenticeships. There might be something that sort of interests you but isn't specifically dance. But if not, definitely do what Jodie said and go the college route.
Isaac, can you do concurrent study with an apprenticeship, e.g. apprenticeships are equivalent to 2 A-levels? Could I take an AS level on top? Unfortunately not. All apprenticeships are government funded in one way or another, whether it be through the levy with employers or whether it be through a smaller employer. Essentially, all the funding comes through the government. So you can't do 2 things at once. So it's either A-levels, but you can progress from an A-level to an apprenticeship, or you do an apprenticeship and then perhaps go to do a degree, whether that be through the apprenticeship route or the traditional route. So there's definitely a progression ladder, but you can't do 2 things at the same time.
That's too hard anyway. We're not great at 2 things at once, are we, Jodie?
We're women, we should be.
Okay, so we've been asked, really good question again. When should I start looking for apprenticeships if I finish 6th form next year, 2021? I mean, it can't hurt to look now. It's always good to look at any point just to see, for example, if you're not sure what apprenticeship you're interested in now, why not look now and then you know what's coming further down the line. For when you actually finish 6th form and you're really starting to consider applying for vacancies, we always recommend that if you're leaving in sort of May, June, is it that you finish college these days? Again, I'm old. I would recommend you start looking early in the year and start making applications sort of February time. You might get told that the vacancies aren't available straight away, but it's really good to get your options open, because if you can in that time get an interview, for example, for an apprenticeship, whether you're successful, fantastic if you are, but if you're not, it's really good experience to get that interview prep ready for when you are leaving college. So you can interview while you're at college, as long as you speak to your college advisors, etc. But start looking earlier on in the year, so sort of February time, just to see what is available, because summer vacancies will go live depending on the sector. So for example, there are certain times, we were talking about accountancy, certain times in the year where accountant firms will start recruiting. They start recruiting at the beginning of the year. So they'll start looking at January, February, ready for when people leave 6th form in June. So it's things like that. We can help you. We've got some sector specific knowledge that might be useful. So get in contact and we can give you some more specific advice. But if not, I would say February time, then start making your applications. If you get interviews, fantastic, go for it. It's all good experience.
Next question. Paul has asked, what grades do you need for the common apprenticeships? Do you know what, Paul? The reality is each employer is looking for something different. There are sometimes some specifics around grades 4 to 9, A to C, particularly maths and English. That is, for example, engineering, they pretty much look for that. However, the smaller engineering companies may actually not be as worried about that, and actually it's more to do with your attitude and motivation. So I would say, maths and English grades 4 to 9, A to C are always a good thing to have. However, if you're in a position where you haven't got those, please don't let you put it off.
Okay, does our advice on apprenticeships only cover Hampshire? Jodie mentioned before, at the moment, we are more than happy to help anyone. We cover the entire Solent area. So I think Jamie mentioned earlier, Lymington to Havant, Isle of Wight, up to sort of Winchester. That's where we cover in terms of our project. But I think right now, Jodie would agree, we're going to help anyone and everyone. I think we're all in this together. So please do contact us. I mean, if you're on the Isle of Man, give us a call. We'll still pick up the phone and help you out.
Lovely. Ben has asked, what is the difference between apprenticeships and internships? So the main difference between those two is an apprenticeship has a contract of employment, and that you are paid a salary and you are an employee just like everyone else. So you get the same pension, same holidays, everything like that. So the main difference is around your contract of employment, and that you are a member of staff just like anyone else that's not on apprenticeship. That is the key difference.
Okay. Do they do apprenticeships in photography or filming? There are a variety of apprenticeships that involve those two things. There's actually an apprenticeship that involves both of those. Do you know off the top of your head, Jodie, the name of the No, neither of us are
No. If you go on the Institute for Apprenticeship website and type in creative, all of those will come up. There are quite a few actually in that sector.
There's quite a few. I'd love to be able to memorize all the standards off the top of my head, but we're not there yet. There's 500. But yes, there's definitely apprenticeships in that area. They really employers like to go down the apprenticeship route with that one, because you are in the job and getting that experience rather than studying it at college. So it's a really popular one. So please do go on the Institute of Apprenticeships website.
So I think that concludes our Q&A session. I can't see any more. Can you, Sarah?
No, I'll just check the chat. No.
Lovely. So it just leaves to me to say thank you for joining us. The questions have been amazing, to be fair. We weren't expecting so many. To have so many of you engaged and asking questions was really good. We do have 2 more of these running, one next week, one the week after. The links will be on our social media right now. If you need those links, please feel free to email us even, or look at any of our social media. Thank you for attending. This will be on YouTube, so if you want to refer back to it, please do so. But also, please book your one-to-one sessions. Right now, the Calendly link will be up at the end of the session so that you can book. Thank you again, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye-bye.